What is going on, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another Let's Talk Crypto. I know it's been a little bit. I've been out of town, but I am now officially back. And you know, it's time to jump back into it because, of course, while I was out of town, crypto just decided to go insane, right? So it was waiting for me to go out of town for prices to just start going parabolic. As soon as I left last week, things just went crazy. And it's been a wild ride. I've missed out on a lot of trades because I was out of town and I couldn't really make them happen on my phone. But I did catch a few. And today we're basically going to be looking at some altcoins because altcoins have been going parabolic over the last few days. So we're going to take a look at some of the top performing altcoins and then and we'll go from there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to go through the top 25 coins. I'm going to look at probably the 4 or 5 best performing ones. Try to look for some possible trade setups. And then if you guys request anything, let me know in the comments and I'll take a look at those as well. So I think that's the simplest way to do this. So like that, we have a starting point. My bad, I keep looking down because my dog keeps running through my legs. So we're gonna start. I think that's the simplest way to start off. And then, you guys, whatever you guys have in mind, you could drop it in the comments. I'll take a look at them and then we'll go from there. So let's jump into the monitor here. And first of all, let's take a look at the overall market, see what the best performing coins are right now in the top 25. And that'll be the list that we'll start off with. So right off the bat, we're going to take a look at the last 7 days. And you can see Bitcoin up almost 13% in the last 7 days. It's been a wild move. And then when we take a look at Ethereum, almost 12%. And this has been probably in the last day or two. We have XRP up 9%, currently at 66 cents. We have Solana. Solana has been one that has been going crazy. It is currently sitting at $72, up 20% in the last 7 days. So that'll probably be one of the ones that we're going to take a look at, along with Ethereum. I think Ethereum is the first one we should take a look at. It is the king of the altcoins, right? Cardano was another one we definitely have to take a look at, up 44% in the last week. That is insane. Then we have Doge up 17%. We have Avalanche up 25%. Chainlink up 11%. Matic up 11%. Polkadot up 22%. We have Shiba up 20%. Let's see what else here. We got Bitcoin Cash, 12%. Atom, Cosmos, 12%. Stellar, 10%. And Ethereum Classic still hanging around in the top 25, up 15%. So we're going to start off with Ethereum. And then we're going to probably take a look at Cardano. I think it's the top performing one in the top 10. From there, we'll probably go over to Solana and Avalanche is what I'm thinking. Maybe XRP as well if you guys want to see that. So let's kind of start there. So let's and let's look at really quick at the top gainers and losers overall here. So the top overall gainer is Bonk, which is another meme coin. It's up 200% over the last 7 days. Then we have Ordi up 129%. We have BitTorrent up 121%. Helium up 62%. WeMix up 58%. So those are the top 5 here overall in the top 100 market cap. So let's go ahead and start off with Ethereum here. Let me say what's up to Giannis. Nice to see you again as well, Giannis. And anyone else in the chat, make sure to drop a comment. Let me know that you're in here. And if you have anything, any request, let me know as well. So let's go ahead and talk about Ethereum here. So let me zoom out a bit. Let's go back out to the daily. Actually, I'm gonna go. Let's start off in the monthly. I always like to do a top-down analysis. It gives you a bird's eye view of exactly what's going on and what the main levels are here. So let's start off here with the monthly chart, and we can see that we broke above this resistance right here, which was around that 1930 area, 1900, between 1900 to 1930, right? And then of course 2000 was another resistance level. It was a big psychological level, so we were stuck there for a little bit. If we look here, we can see that we were stuck there since basically the middle of the year, right? For 1, 2, 3, 4. So we got rejected 4 times at that level. Then we moved all the way back down to about 1500, moved back up, and we pretty much just blew right through it, right, over the last 3 months or so. So now we're sitting at 2350. This is the highest of the year. The current high this year is 2396. So I think that was hit yesterday. And now we're coming up on the next big major resistance level, which is gonna be sitting right around here, and it's right around that $2,500 area. So that's probably not a coincidence. So there's a lot of confluence there, because remember, 2,500 is a big whole number, so it's going to be a big psychological level. It's the middle between 2,000 and 3,000. So I'm expecting that to play a role here. And if we look back on history for Ethereum, we can see multiple times here. Let me pull up my brush. We can see multiple times that was a big level of interest here, right? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 different months here during the last bull market where price just kind of stuck around in that range, right? We had this crazy candle here. This is a wild candle. We went up as high as, where did this go? Let me move this because I can't see. A high of $4,300, guys. That's crazy. And then we went all the way back down. We had a low of 1728. Talk about volatility. That is insane. And we kind of hung around there on that candle, on that range for a while, and finally broke back above it again in August before setting up that new all-time high there at 48.75. So, and on the way down, we saw a very similar thing as well. We can see here, it was a big support level for 1, 2, 3 months basically. And once we broke below it, then you can see this massive, massive candle and another massive candle there as well. So let's that pretty much tells us historically that it's going to be a big level there for us. So we should. I don't know that. Alexa's talking to me. We should be prepared for you know, a lot of price action in that area basically, because we've seen it in the past. I'm sure if we bring up the volume shelf, there's a lot of a big volume shelf there, and you can see that right now, right here, let me see, let's zoom out a bit here. So it looks like the biggest price action was in this range that we just broke above, that $1,800 range. And as we continue up, it dropped off a bit, but notice it's still a lot right here, and it's right at that resistance. Once we break above that, look at how the volume just drops off, right? So that means at that point, once we break above 2,500, we can pretty much run pretty free all the way up to this next level up here, which is around 3,800. And the only other number that I would be looking at is probably 3,000, because 3,000, again, psychological whole number. So above 2,500, if I'm looking for a trade, to set up a trade in Ethereum, my main thing I'm looking at is probably going to be a break above 2,500. So I'd be setting up probably a breakout trade. Now, you can do, because usually one of my favorite setups is a break and retest, right? The issue during a bull market that I've experienced is that in a bull market, when a major level gets broken through, a lot of the times that price doesn't come back and retest it, right? So a lot of times you'll see just a break and continuation without really coming back for a retest. So we kind of saw that recently. If we go, let me see, what was it, around 2200, right? So 2200 was kind of a big level. You can see that we got rejected by it multiple times over. And we've broken out, but there hasn't been a retest of that number, right? So of course we're looking at the monthly, and there could still be a retest. Maybe we go up to 2500 and then get that pullback, that retrace, and retest there. But you've missed out on that massive trade, right? So the way I'm playing it right now during the bull run is I'm changing things up a bit, and I'm more likely to play breakouts, because although breakouts historically don't have a super high hit rate, I think in a bull market their hit rate goes way up. So that's definitely what I'm gonna be, the way I'm gonna be playing most projects and most of these setups. Is I'm definitely going to be setting up breakout trades above the big levels, because again, in a bull market, although breakout trades a lot of times don't have high hit rates, in a bull market I think the hit rate goes up a whole lot more. So I think those breakout trades are going to be very, very profitable during this this upcoming bull run that we've already began, basically, right? So above 2500 is my favorite level right there for Ethereum. If we do get any type of pullback, so let's go down into the weekly. So this is a weekly chart now. If we do get some sort of pullbacks, I'm gonna be looking, the first, my main level is down here, right? This is an obvious level. We played into this level multiple times over. Every time we got down here to the 1930 and below range, we were entering trades, right? And you can see we did it multiple times. We had 1, 2, 3 weeks basically of what I call printing free money. Anytime this was coming down here and doing this retest, we were buying it up, writing it back up to 2,000 plus, and basically just printing some free money there. So as you can see, we're kind of in the middle of nowhere, right? We're kind of in the middle of all this. If we do get a pullback, I don't think we're coming back down here to 1930. I mean, we can if there's a bigger pullback, but the way that momentum is right now, a lot of people are excited. A lot of retail is coming back in, and a pullback down here, I mean, it's 17%. It's not even a 20% pullback. So in crypto terms, that's not a lot, right? That's a very normal. That's a normal day in crypto. But I don't see this pullback right now because there's so much momentum in the market. Like I've been waiting on the pullback, and we haven't got a pullback. And I've realized there's just so much momentum in the market. There's a lot of retail coming back in. There's a lot of big players, institutional players, positioning themselves in the market for this next bull run. So anytime we get any type of small dip, it's been getting bought up right away. So any dips, guys, I am looking to enter at main levels. So the first level that I'm looking at here is 2200. If we get a dip to 2200, I am building up long positions there. But I'm probably leaving room, right? So you can play it multiple ways. If you're just looking for a straight up, low risk setup, then 2200, you can enter a trade there. If it goes beyond a certain point, make sure to have a stop loss and just kind of cut your losses if it goes beyond it. And then if price starts to bounce back up, just re-enter at 2200, right? That's the easiest way to do it. Now another way you can do it is you can what's called ladder your entries, right? So you can enter at 2200. If it continues down to 2100, you can re-enter again. And if it continues down to 2000, you could do a third entry, right? And because the odds are that it's not going to go all the way down here, but if it does, you're averaging in your entries, right? So so you should be fine either way. And we know that we're going into the bull market, so it's only a matter of time before price goes back up. So that's why during a bull market, I do not mind laddering my trades. You just got to make sure you have an exit plan in the event that things go really wrong. But if not, the plan is just to fill up your bags as price goes down and then wait, right, for price to go back up. Just make sure if you're using leverage, ladder entries are a lot more dangerous. So if you're using leverage, make sure that you're not over positioning yourself. You're not building a position that's too big that can get you liquidated if it continues down to this support here. So the lowest I see it going is probably back down here, which will be around that 1930, 1900 area. So your liquidation levels need to be below that for sure. So that's pretty much the way I'm playing Ethereum here. I gave you guys two different trade setups. Breakout above 2500, pullbacks to 2200, pullback to 2000, and any pullback to below 1930. I'm building positions, long positions all around those levels there. Those are my favorite levels to play there in Ethereum right now. So let's go ahead and go to the next one. Let's go on to Cardano. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to drop it in the comments. If you guys are watching on a replay, feel free to drop your questions in the comments as well, right? It's not going to be the live chat, but it's going to be comments. I'll be able to see it. And if I have an answer for your question, then I'll give it to you. Let me take a sip of water really quick while I take a look here at Cardano. We're going to, of course, do a top-down analysis as usual. So we're zooming all the way out and just trying to get a feel for what's going on here on from the bird's eye view. So just right off the rip, looking at this, we can see it's very similar. Look at this and look at this, right? So this was the previous bear market in 2018. And look how it looks. It's very, very ugly. And then when it got here, it just kind of got stuck there for what? From November 2018 to April 2020. So for about 18 months, we were stuck in this range. And look how similar this looks. This is basically the same thing. Came down into this range December 2022 till December 2023, basically. So for about a year. We got, just like we got down here, we got the big bounce in this area. And now we are likely going to set up a new all-time high, just like we did previously, right? Now, it's you know, nobody's gonna be able to predict what the next all-time high is. We know here the high, this previous high here was $1.39. Then we dropped down to the low of 1 cent. It was less than 2 cents, right? Then we went all the way up to $3. So that was pretty wild. From 1 cent to $3. That's a wild return. It was probably one of the best returns during the last bull market. Now we came all the way back down to the 28-cent area, right? I think the low was 22 cents. And we've began our move back up. So I think personally, and this is just personal opinion, I think this previous all-time high is a given, right? We're 100% going to hit that. If you go from the bottom here to the top, that's over a 13x, right? 13 times return on your money. If you bought that bottom, I think that's just easy money, right? So I was telling everybody, just accumulate during this bear market. Basically this entire year, I've been saying to accumulate, because once things take off, they happen very quickly, and it's almost a guarantee. It's the closest thing to a guarantee that you're gonna get during a bear market if you buy low, that we're gonna go back to the previous all-time highs. So I've been talking about it for the past year, more than a year probably. And here we go, right? Things are happening now. So how much further can we go beyond that? So I mean, right now, if we look at where we are now to the previous all-time high, now it's a 5x, right? So now it's not as good as it was when we were down here. That's why you buy during the bear market. You buy when there's massive amount of fear in the market. Even though it's uncomfortable to do during a bear market, that's when you buy, because look at the difference between this return. This is a 5x versus a 13x. That's a big difference. Now, a 5x is still pretty good, right? But it's not the same as a 13. You're talking about less than half of what you could have gotten if you bought during the bear market. Regardless, it is what it is, right? So we can still make a good return. I definitely think 5x is a minimum you're going to get on your return here. I think that we could definitely potentially go to maybe like the $5 range. The $5 range would put it at around an 8x. And it would put it basically a 21x if you bought at the bottom here. So again, 8x is great, 21x a lot better. So let's see where we're at right now. And let's look for some possible trade setups here, for some day trades, some short-term trades, some swings. That's usually what I'm looking for, right? So we can see that we got above this main level here. That was 45 cents. Let's go down into the weekly. So 45 cents was a big level here for Cardano, and we just broke above that level. So I wouldn't be surprised to get a retest, a retracement down here to that 45 cent area. If you do, I would be buying anywhere between 45 to 40 cents. That's a great opportunity to buy there. And the next really big resistance is up here, 70 cents. So there's room for this to go, right? There's room for it to move. We can see, if we look back here, we can see that there is resistance here at this 57. It looks like 57 to 60 cent range. There's resistance here. So, sorry. So there's some resistance here. It's a minor resistance is what I call it. I don't think it's anything major. I think it's only a matter of time before price continues up, and at least to this range here, which is that 70 cent range. And again, if we look back in history to confirm that, we can see, we were rejected there. We can see that it played us as a support level here, and we can see it was rejected here and used as support here once it broke out. You can see we got the breakout and the retest here 2 weeks in a row. So so that's probably the level that I'm looking at. If I'm looking for a play here, I'm probably looking for a breakout above 70 cents for an entry, or a pullback here to between 45, around that 45 cent range. Now remember that 50 cent is a big whole number, so that could also play as a support level. So that's a potential area to maybe, if you want to ladder your entries, like we've been speaking about, 50 cent is probably a good spot to begin. And if price continues down, then at 45, I'd have another long order, and once again at 40 cents, another long order. So that's the range that I'd be looking at to fill those long orders if we saw a pullback here. So those are the two plays that I would look at: breakout above 70 cents, or a pullback here to 50, 45, and 40 cents to that range. So in that 40 cent area, basically. And you don't have to set your buy orders exactly those spots. Those are just, I'm just giving you general ideas. But you set it up however you want, if you want to ladder it, if you don't, if you just want to buy one time at a certain spot with a stop loss, you can do that. Or if you just want, set bids at the bottom of that range, then you could do that as well. However you want to play it, however you prefer. Everybody plays it different. Everyone has their own preferences. Everyone's risk tolerance is different, right? So I think the smaller your bankroll is, the more risk you can take. Because when you have a smaller bankroll, your idea is you need to build and create that bankroll, right? You need to build up your bankroll. And I mean, it could happen rather quickly during a bull market, but it could happen even faster if you take some risk. And I don't mind taking risks. Like, if, for example, if your bankroll is $1,000, like, yeah, if you lose $1,000, of course it's gonna hurt, but it's a lot easier to make $1,000 than to make back, for example, $100,000, right, or $25,000. Like, so when your bankroll is smaller, you can take more risk usually, and when your bankroll is bigger, then your strategy has to be different. Your strategy becomes, all right, you're going from trying to build up your bankroll to trying to preserve your bankroll, right? So you've already, if you have $100,000, you've already built a pretty good bankroll, right? $100,000 is not easy to get to. So now the idea is, all right, use those 100,000 to continue to build up, right? Because with $100,000, I think you can pretty easily 10x it during these next 2 years, and go from 100,000 to $1 million, and that's playing it conservatively, right? So staying within the top coins and not really using too much leverage in your positions, et cetera, et cetera. I think you can do it pretty easily over these next 2 years. But what you don't want to do, you don't want to take risks that you don't have to, and lose a big chunk of your bankroll when you've already got to such a big bankroll. So, because that hurts, right? Because then that could be, a 10x, instead of your 10x being from 100,000 to $1 million. Let's say you lose $25,000 doing, playing meme coins or something. Something you shouldn't have done, right? That it wasn't worth the risk. Now a 10x would still get you to $750,000, but that $25,000 that you lost on meme coins just cost you $250,000, right? So that's why when your bankroll is on the bigger end, you have to switch your strategy from being high risk to being more in what do you call it? Preserving capital, right? So you want to stick to safer plays overall. All right, so let's look at the next one. The next one I wanted to look at was Solana here. So Solana, another big mover over the last few weeks. And we can see, because the last time that we did this live stream, we spoke about Solana, right? And we kind of broke down the levels and how to play it. And we spoke about, look at this big yellow area, right, that I had pointed out. And look at this. What happened here? We got rejected, and then we broke out. And look how big this candle is once we broke out. Once we broke above $45, we had a 36% move to the upside. So that was one of the plays that we spoke about. And just look at that move, right? So if we go from here to where we currently are, that's about a 60% move there once we broke above that $45 mark. So that's why we play these levels, guys. That's why we talk about these breakout levels, because a lot of the times when there's the breakout, look at this, it hasn't come back to retest it. Now we're getting back to another big resistance level here. So maybe we get an opportunity here where maybe it could get rejected there and a retest down here. And we'll see that all the time, right? We'll see it here when this was dropping, it hit this same level. That's the same level we're talking about. Let me see. Is it the same level? Yeah. So same level we're talking about, right? We hit that level and we bounce back up here. So that's a possibility where we can hit this level and drop back down to that $45 range to retest that before a continuation to the upside. However, because we're in a bull market, because there's so much momentum, because there's just so much hype right now around crypto. We're not gonna wait for a rejection here to then maybe get lucky and be able to get a entry here at $45. We're not gonna do that, guys, because if we wait to do that, we're probably going to miss out on a trade. So the way that I'm probably going to be playing it, again, like we spoke about earlier, I'm looking to enter breakouts during bull runs. So a move above, let's see, this is about $77. That's a move I'll take. So above $77, if we break above that level, I'll enter here a day trade, right? With a target of, so your target at that point could be $100. Your stop loss at that point, so you're entering at 77, right? Your profit is 100, so that's $13. So now if you want a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio, you could technically go down from 77, 67, 64, right? So your stop loss could be at 64. It is kind of a wide stop loss, especially if you're using leverage. You got to be careful because that's kind of wide. So I would play it a little bit safer than that. I'd probably play a number like 70. I think, you know, somewhere I put my stop loss somewhere in the range of 69, 68. So basically you'd be taking a $7, $8, $9 risk. Your reward is 13, so you're definitely getting a better than 1-to-1 odds on it. So that's a play that I like there for a breakout trade on Solana. Now, if it doesn't break above it and we get rejected, we drop back down, then we already know what levels we're looking at. So the first main levels we're going to be looking at, not only this level down here, which is that $45 range, because look what happened. We didn't even get there last time, right? You can see that people are buying up at before they didn't even let it get to 50. So 50 would be one level that I'd be looking to buy because it's a big psychological level. It didn't even get to 50, right? So you got to be playing those whole numbers, and you probably want to be buying before it even gets to the whole number because there's a possibility that it doesn't get to it, right? So $60 is probably the first whole number I'm really looking at. I'm not going to be playing 70 unless we get up here higher and then drop down, then maybe I play 70. But right now, if we drop back down to 70, I wouldn't. That's not a spot that I'd be looking to enter. So I'd probably be looking for a deeper pullback, maybe down here to this level right here. You can see that this played a minor level there. So that's a possible area. That's around $63. That's just before 60. 60 is a big psychological number. So I wouldn't mind 60. I wouldn't mind 63. If we were to fall back lower than that, I'd probably be looking at 55. And if we were to get to 50, of course, 50, and of course, anything below 50, like I'm loading up, right? So so those are basically the two players I'm looking for in Solana right now, above 77 and below 70, so closer to that $60 range. Those are the two spots I'm really looking at. And of course, if we were to continue lower than that, I love anything below 50. I'm loading up basically 5% risk at that point of my trading portfolio, because I'm loading up big at that point. So right now, any pullbacks, especially if we get any deeper pullbacks, guys, I am loading up. So I think that should be everyone's mind state at that point as well. All right, so let's see what else we wanted to look at here. We could take a look at AVAX. Avalanche, another big mover here, up 22% in the last week. We can see this massive move here. Let's zoom out to the monthly. And you can see I have look at these. These are alerts. You see these little clocks? These are alerts. Why do I have alerts? Well, because those are buy areas for me, right? So my main buy area during the bear market was down here, $10. This is where I was buying during this year, basically during this bull market. Anytime it would hit $10, I just buy a little bit more, add to my longs, because we can see, and it's pretty obvious. It was pretty obvious back then during this bull market, and it's pretty obvious now. This was a big level here. This was a very obvious big level here to just load up on, and that's exactly what I did throughout this year. And what sucks is it never feels like it's enough, right? Like, you load up your bags, you feel like you're confident, you feel like you're ready. Then you look back and you're like, do I have enough? Like, once this move started, like, this is 3x at this point, right? From when we were down here at $10, which was my buying point, to where we're at now, almost at $30. That's a basically a 3x, right? 2x. And I feel like I didn't buy enough. So I'm like, damn, I didn't buy enough. I should have bought more. Like, it will never feel, especially when you're right about something and you're so confident about it, and you're like, I knew that it was gonna bounce right back up and we're gonna go right back to, previous all-time highs, and I still feel like I didn't buy enough. I feel like I should have bought more. But hey, that's usually how it is, right? Like, when if Bitcoin goes to $150,000 in the next 2 years, or 250,000, or $1 million over the next 10 years, you're probably gonna be like, I didn't buy enough Bitcoin, right? It's gonna seem so obvious in hindsight, but that's the way the game goes, guys. So that was my first buy entry here. My next alert here was above this level, $22, because that was a breakout trade. Now you can see that we broke above this, we got rejected, and then we continued. So we did get rejected the first time, but then we got that continuation there. And we actually took some trades, because we spoke about this exact level last time that we did this altcoin live stream. We spoke about this breakout trade, and we were able to catch this for some nice profits here. And I spoke about that on my Instagram and in my Discord as well. So that was actually a trade that we took on Discord. So that was in a pretty obvious one. And let me see. I'm pretty sure I have this. Let me pull this up here. So this is the trades, and we can see here 11:15. So this was a month ago. We longed. Look at where we longed, $22, and look at where we exited, $24. So we won that. It was a 91% move, right? That was an overall 91% move. Now, this is $900 would have been what you won if your position size was $1,000. If your risk was $1,000, you could have made $900. Now, obviously, depending what your position size, this amount changes. But so that's why we never really focus on the amount of money, because it's going to be different for everyone. What we focus on is on the percentage return, because that's the same for everyone. So the percentage return, 91%, you basically doubled whatever you risked on that position at that point. So that was a great catch there for us. And this trade came straightly from our last live stream, guys. I gave this exact trade setup in our live stream. We caught it in our private Discord for a 91% move. So, and I'm sure a lot of the other ones that I spoke about also, I just haven't looked back on them, and we didn't officially take them in the trade room, but we spoke about a lot of these trade setups here that already happened, right? Let me actually pull up my the Discord really quick and see what other ones I had wrote there, because I did basically a breakdown of all the trades that we spoke about. So we can see Link was one that we were talking about, entry at $15. And actually, if you just kind of go all the way back, we see Ethereum anything at $2,000, I was going to be buying it up to $1,900, right? So entry at $2,000. AVAX, we have that one that I just showed you guys. A break above $22. We had Solana, right? Solana, a pullback below $60. We got that, right? A breakout and retest. Which one, what am I looking at? Okay, this is Solana. So this one, this is a breakout in retest. Is that what this one is? Same idea as AVAX. Here's the setup. Yeah, breakout and retest. Matic, you can see Matic, right? 85 cents retest. So this was a breakout and retest. A breakout above $1. So that one hasn't hit yet. So that's a setup that you can look at. Dot, we had a pullback entry at $5. I believe we got that. Breakout and retest at $6. So where's Dot right now? Dot is, I know it's been going up. It's at 665. So that was again another trade that you could have caught there. So Link, what was the breakout for Chainlink was at $14, and where's Chainlink? Chainlink is at $16. So we spoke about a lot of these trades in our last live stream, guys. And if you wrote them down, if you played those levels, you could have made some easy profits here over the last few weeks. So hopefully you guys did so. Now, let's take a look at what we could potentially do here in AVAX if we're looking to play it again. The main thing right now that I'm probably going to be looking at is if we're going to get a retest of this level. So we had the breakout. Are we getting a retest? Let's go down into the weekly here. So we can see that we were stuck in this level for a little bit for 3 weeks, right? I would love to get a retest here and confirm this as support. That could be a play. So that's probably going to be my first play that I'll be looking for. A retest of $22. I'll be loading up there at that point. And then the next level here is this right here, 78, the 78 Fibonacci level, right? 78.6. And that's just above $30. So $30 is of course also a psychological resistance level. So I don't mind using that as another breakout entry. So potentially above 30, or if you want to be a little bit safer, you could do above 32, because $32 is where that Fibonacci level is sitting right now. So those are the two setups that I'd be looking at right now in Avalanche. Pullback, retest, confirmation as support here at 22, or breakout above 30 or 32, depending, if you want to play the 30 level or if you want to play the Fibonacci 32 level. So those are two setups that I'd be watching right now in AVAX. And you can see, again, I always like to confirm my ideas by looking back in history. What did price do back in history? We can see that was a big level there. We got rejected there last time. Look at this. How long did we just spend in this exact level here before the beginning of the last bull run? So that pretty much confirms that what we're looking at and what we're thinking is on the right path. Doesn't mean it's correct, but it means that we're on the right path, and that there's some sense to it. There's some confluence to it. There's some confirmation to it. So again, I've been talking about AVAX for a long time. I think one of the narratives in the space is this bull run is going to be like casino games. It's going to be gaming, and Avalanche has a lot of those projects within its ecosystem. So that's big for a platform like AVAX. They have a lot of massive partnerships. Yeah, I've been loading up on AVAX for a while now, and I will continue to do so on any pullback. So love AVAX here, and I'll continue to hold this long term. So let's go ahead and take a look at, I'm gonna take a few requests here now. So from the chat, if you guys are in here, I see that we've got a few requests already, but I'll take a few here from the chat, and we'll kind of analyze and break down. We'll do a quick overview on, what it looks like and where it could potentially go from where it is. So if you have any requests, drop it in the chat right now, and and I'm gonna take a look at them. So let me see. I see Timmers. Timmers was requesting VET VChain. Are you still in here, Timmers? If you're still in here, we'll look at it real quick. If not, I'll move on to the next one. I want to make sure that whichever one I do, whichever one was requested, that you're still in here. If not, I'm not going to do it. So Timmers, if you're still in here, let me know so I can look at VChain. Yeah, VET. Okay. So let's look at VET. Timmers is still in here. All right. So let's zoom out all the way to the monthly. I don't know why this text is down here. So look at this crazy pullback here from the all-time highs. It went down as low. What was the low here? 95% from its all-time high. That's crazy. And the reason I have this on this chart already is because during the bear market, I was looking for the coins that had like the biggest moves to the downside, like VChain here, that moved down 95% from its previous all-time high, because basically a move back to all-time highs. Look at this. This is a 20x, right? And I definitely think that VChain can get to its previous all-time high. So at the bottom is a 20x. At the current price, it's still almost a 10x. And of course, I do expect majority of altcoins to outperform their previous all-time highs with more, because if we're expecting, and this is the way that you think of it. First, if we're expecting more money to come in, right? We're expecting Bitcoin to break above previous all-time highs. The only way that Bitcoin breaks above previous all-time highs is if more money comes into the markets, right? We already see that happening. It's pretty much a guarantee that more money is going to come into the market. So what happens with the way that markets flow, the money cycle, is that it goes from fiat into Bitcoin. Bitcoin moves up. Then we see that money trickle out. Those profits from Bitcoin move down into Ethereum and other big caps, right? And we're seeing that right now. We can see that in Solana. We can see that in Cardano. We can see that in Avalanche. Those are the big market cap players, right? We can see that the profits from over the last few weeks from Bitcoin, money's been going into those projects. Then we go from big market caps to mid market caps, and then to small market caps. This is considered pretty much like a mid market cap right now. You can see today's up about 5%, so it hasn't really moved too much. But in this month, in so far in December, in 8 days, it's up 24%. So don't get it confused that it's not going to be moving. But it hasn't seen a move like Cardano, for example, that it's up this month. It's up 43% on the month. We haven't got that yet from VChain, and that's because money flows into these the smaller cap projects later on, right? They're down the money cycle. So it pretty much happens over and over, where money goes into Bitcoin, then goes out to Ethereum, then goes out to big market caps, then goes to mid caps, then to smaller caps, and that's just how the money flows over and over and over. So if you can time these things right, you can definitely make a lot of profits. But remember, there's still going to be more moves coming for Bitcoin, so a lot of money can still flow out of these altcoins. But overall, I like not Cardano, VChain. I think VChain is definitely going to move back up. They have a lot of partnerships. They're in the AI space, right? So if you think that AI is going to be a big narrative during these next 2 years, VChain is in that AI space. They have partnerships. They have a lot of things going on for them. So I definitely think that it's a good play long term. If we're looking at possible trade setups here, then the way I like to look at it, I like to start off when you have a blank canvas, basically like this one, where I don't have anything drawn on it because I haven't really looked at it. Basically, we start off by, all right, let's see where the last move began. Let's go all the way to the top. And now let's see if there's anything here that we see. And you can see there's really nothing up until up here, right? Which is 6 cents, which is like 2-3x from where it currently is. So this is just kind of in the middle of nowhere right now compared to where it could potentially be going. So we kind of got to draw our own levels here. So I'm going to just grab here a horizontal line and let's just look for main levels, right? So we can see that's a main level right there. We can see historically it's respected it there multiple times. And we can see here during this bear market, it respected this level here. And now it's bouncing up. Now let's look for another level. And we can make the case that there's a level around this range where it currently is right now. Let's zoom in a little bit more into the weekly, so we can potentially see where that level might be exactly. And I mean, it could be in a range. Remember, there's never any exact levels, but so it looks more like a range to me. And you know, this is basically the range that this has been trading within since over a year ago, basically a year and a half ago. So I'm pretty much looking for a breakout probably above this right here, because this is the last time it moved up in this range. That's where it got rejected twice. So that's pretty much the level that I'm looking at. I'll move above that. I'll probably even set up an alarm here. If it crosses that line, you know, to let me know. I'm not trying to use a webhook, bro. I just want this to send me an alert. Webhook. Okay, take off the webhook. There you go. All right, so I set up an alert there because I think that's an easy one. And then, you know, below that you can look for whole numbers, right? So I think that's the major area. And then if we kind of zoom in a little bit more, then we kind of see right about here, this is 3 cents. And the reason 3 cents is a level that I'm interested in is because it's a whole number, right? Psychological whole number, big number. So that's gonna be a minor resistance there. So you can play this level as well. You can play that 3 cent range if you're looking for a breakout. Breakout above this could lead up to that 3.5 cent range, and then a breakout above that, I believe, can lead up to this next range, which is 4.5 cents, right? So we can draw another line here because this is another pretty big area right there for VeChain. And then once it breaks beyond that, now we can start looking at the Fibonacci levels, and that level there is about 6 cents, right? So that's pretty much what I'm looking at. If I'm analyzing this, if I'm looking for plays, I'm like, okay, so the first level to the upside is probably 3 cents. I would set up a breakout trade above that. Then we have this level here, which is where I set an alert because that's historically, it's giving the price problems there. So breakout above that will probably lead it up to here, and eventually to here. So, you know, break above here, you basically double your money when you hit that Fibonacci level there. So I think that's a good play there. I like that play. That's pretty much it. If we get any type of pullback, you know, 2 cents is the first level I'm looking at. Again, psychological whole number. We can see it's played support and resistance here in the past. We can even draw a line there, and it will be more clear how much of an effect this level has had. You know, going back, you can see resistance there. You can see support there, resistance, support. So that's probably where I'm looking for a long on a pullback. And if it pulled back further than that, then the bear market bottom is where I'm looking. So that's pretty much it. That's pretty much how I'm looking at it. And I could even put another alert here, because that's an interesting spot to set up some long positions in the event that we were to pull back here. So that's pretty much how I would play VeChain overall if I'm looking to trade it. If I'm looking to just hold long term, then I don't mind it. I like buying even in this range, even though it's moved up a bit. I like buying it here and holding it long term. You have the possibility for a 10x basically in the next 2 years. So I'm a fan of it. All right, let's take a look at another one here. All right, we have Ants Prince. Prince requested Thorchain. Prince, are you still in here? You still want me to do Thorchain? Let me know. If not, we got Chris 5.0. He was requesting Jito. I don't know if that's how you pronounce it or not, but looks like Jito to me. Okay, Prince is in here, so we're going to take a look at Thorchain. No problem, Timmers. I hope that helped. So, what was it? Thorchain, which is Rune. All right, so let's again start off. You always want to zoom out. We're looking top down. Now, the only thing with this one in particularly is that there's not a lot of history to go off of it. Basically, it looks like it came out in the middle of or towards the end of the bull run, and basically had to move up and then just dropped completely. Just completely collapsed with the rest of the crypto market. So it's kind of hard to really analyze this one here, because we can't really draw Fibonacci levels that basically gives us that that start that I like. But you know, we'll give it a shot. Give it a shot here with that, and then we'll draw our own lines as well, based on what we see here. But we've seen this massive move here. Let's see how big this move has been here. So this is a massive move, almost 600% in the last 4 months, in less than 4 months. So that's a massive move. And it's almost up to its previous all-time highs. So if we look at that previous all-time highs, we're only, well, it was a 62%. Let's put this over here, this over here. It's 167% move at that point to its previous all-time highs. So that's pretty easy for this to hit. I think that'll hit it pretty easily. Let's zoom in a little bit into the weekly, because the thing is, when there's not a lot of history, the monthly doesn't really help too much. So we gotta try to use the weekly here to see what we can find, if maybe you know, we have a better clue. So looking back here, we can see that this seems to have been a pretty big level here. Historically, when it moved down, we had support there. Then over here, it was resistance, and then we can see that it struggled a little bit there before breaking out and then moving up. So that's definitely a level that we can kind of draw out there, right around that $3 range. And if we continue, we can see kind of where it's at right now. It's historically struggled there a little bit, and it's mainly because of this resistance here. So we can see that we're running into this resistance right here right now. That's historically been a big level. You can see it multiple times. It's been a big level there for it. So right now, if I'm looking to day trade this, that's basically the first thing I'm looking at, is that level, right? That has my attention for a breakout entry. above, so it's basically above $7.50. Now you could also play that $7 range, but you're more likely to get rejected. You can see it's been rejected there, but that's a level you can play. Ideally, because this has moved so much already, you really would rather enter on a pullback, which would be probably this level right here. That's around that $5 range. So I think $5 would be the ideal spot to enter. However, I don't know if we're gonna return to $5. That's the issue. So in this range right here, where it's just kind of, there's not much going on there, I'm not doing anything here unless we pull back to $5. Then I'm looking for some long entries there. If we break out above $7.50, that I'll use that as a breakout entry, because I think that could lead up to probably the $10 range up here. So so that's pretty much, you know, and again, this project, I haven't done much research on this project. I don't know fundamentally what's going on with it. I have heard about it a lot. I'm not personally invested in it. So I'm just literally breaking this down just from looking at what the chart is telling me. And that's pretty much the story the chart is telling me, right? And again, we're limited on the history of how the price has reacted at certain levels. So I'm using very limited information here, and I'm very limited on its history. So this could act, you know, it could maybe not care about what's done in the past, but it gives you an idea of where you can at least begin to build out a plan, because that's the main thing that you always want when you're trading. You need to have a plan, and I always build my plans around history. Basically, I look back at historically what it's done at certain levels, you know, how price has reacted at certain places, and I build a plan basically around that. So that's the foundation of where you start building your trading plan, and then you could pretty much go from there. So I hope that that answered some of your questions, and I hope that was helpful to you. All right. It's 1 o'clock, so we've been live for an hour. I'm gonna take one more request. So we had, the next one was Chris 5.0 was requesting Jito. He said it was just listed on Coinbase and Binance. Chris, are you still in here? If you're still in the stream, then we'll take a look at it. If not, we'll go on to the next person. So let's see if Chris is in here. Give Chris a few seconds here to see if he's in or not. Let's see what's going on in the rest of the market. While we wait on that, we see Bitcoin. I haven't done a analysis on Bitcoin for you guys in a bit, but this is basically what's going on here. We can see this massive move up above $30,000. You can see that was a massive level there for Bitcoin. Broke up above it. Then this here was another big level for Bitcoin. You can see it took us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 weeks before on the 6th week we moved up. But once we broke out of it, you can see it's just, you know, it doesn't care about anything at this point. But guess what? Look at where we're reaching resistance. So now there's potential that we see something like this or something like this, where we kind of, you know, consolidate here for a little bit. However, when we're in a bull market, you know, we've seen it multiple times. Bitcoin doesn't care, and it'll just break right through resistance. So that's something we got to watch. We saw it here. Look at how it broke through resistance basically in 1 week, and then it did come back, retest it, and then continued up. So I wouldn't be surprised to see something like that. I think it would be when this resistance, I think this, and again, I said this about 42,000, so what I think may not matter at all. But I'm thinking because it's been such a big level here historically, that this will get broken when the spot ETF is basically confirmed or approved or whatever. That's when I see this getting broken through. And I think when that happens, like let's say it happens in January, so it could be in the next 30 days. I think at that point we break above $50,000, and you know, 50 to 69, that's nothing for Bitcoin. So we might see in the first quarter next year, before the halving even hits, we might see us test that $60,000 range in Bitcoin. Like the way that the momentum is going right now, I wouldn't be surprised that in the first quarter of next year is when we retest previous all-time highs. And after the halving, then we start pushing up to $100,000. That's pretty much like what it looks like Bitcoin wants to do to me right now. So all right. So Chris is not in here. So we're going to the next person. R3A said Gary Token. I've honestly never even heard of Gary Token, but if you're in here, let me know in the live chat and we'll take a look at it. If not, the next person on the list is Abdul. So Abdul, let me know if you're in here. If not, we'll move on to the next one. The next person was Prince once again. So Prince, is, if you're still in here, we'll take a look at Raven Coin, RVN. All right, Abdul's still in here. So Abdul requested. Oh, Chris is still in here. So Chris. Yeah, so Chris, I've heard about Jito. I honestly haven't really looked into it. But I do like projects in the Solana ecosystem, right? So, and one thing that we always gotta remember is when there's, especially with Solana's up 20% in the last 7 days. In the last week, a lot of these profits are gonna go from Solana into the smaller projects within its ecosystem. So Jito is one of those projects, if it's within it, that could potentially, you know, yeah, there's not going to be any history on it because it's too new. But it's definitely going to be something that that potentially could be good, and you know, just because it's in Solana, and Solana is going to be very soon, I think, a top 5 coin here. I wanted to look at its backers. So let me see. So a lot of times when new projects like this, there's nothing to look at here. When a new project launches, a lot of times what you'll see is a big move up in the beginning, then a crash, consolidation, and continuation. So usually when there's a new project, I don't like to buy it. I like to wait for this to happen already, and then I wait for the crash. So there's gonna be some profit takers. It's just a matter of time, right? So that's pretty much what I'd be looking for. And then after that, I'd expect a continuation. So let me, I'm looking to see if, because it was listed by Coinbase. So I want to see if Coinbase is actually an investor behind this project. So let's see. So let's see, Jito Labs. It's a trending project right now. Its private price was 6 cents, and right now it's sitting at $3.50. So that's always something that you gotta kind of take into account. I'm pulling it up here on the screen for you guys. So here's Jito Labs, builds high-performance Solana MEV infrastructure, right? So this was just launched. One thing you got to take into account, the private price, right? So they're in massive profits already at 6 cents, and it's currently at $3.50. Let's see. So calculated market cap 404, reported market cap 404, in circulation 115, reported. So let's see who the main, I'm trying to see who the main backers are here. So I can see a lot of its top Twitter followers. These are basically probably the people talking about it and pushing it. So we see Multicoin Capital, Frameworks, Delphi. Oh, look who's here. Alameda Research. So that's we know who they are. They're connected to FTX and Sam Bankman-Fried. We have Solana Ventures and Robot Ventures. I don't know what Robot Ventures are. So that's the Series A. They raised $10 million there. Then all backers here. Basically the same thing as Series A. So I mean, it's interesting. It has some big names behind it. Let's see how the distribution chart is. So investors, so 1 year cliff, investors get 16.2%. The team has basically 25%. So 25, that's basically, then we have airdrops are 10%, community 25%, development 25%. And then its vesting, its token unlocks. The first one starts January 6, 2024. January 6, 2024 again, February 6. So then it looks on the 6th of each month, there's going to be an unlock. The first one being January 6th. So that might be a key date there to see what happens on that date, because there could be a lot of people selling. But it's an interesting project. We can see here. So it looks like it has some big backers. If we look at, for example, Solana Ventures, some of its projects it's invested in, we can see StepN, obviously, this is a project that we were big on when it first came out. 56.2x, Crypto, Galax, Genopets. So I'm looking to see, what's its most profitable ones. Gary Network is actually requested in the chat as well. So yeah, historically looking at the chart, there's really nothing I can see because it just came out, so new. But we can see it's back. So what we look at instead is basically its backers and things like that. And you can look at, and this is what I recommend for anyone looking at new projects. Look at who the backers are, where the money's going, how much they're up already, stuff like that. And it could really, point you into the right path. So, unfortunately, I can't really analyze it from a chart standpoint, but it looks like it has some decent backers here. Again, historically, the way that these projects, when they first launch, the way that it does is historically they'll pump first day. Well, it could be more than just 1 day. It could be the first week, right? It'll pump, and then we'll at some point see a drop, consolidation, and that's kind of where you really want to get in, right? And that drop consolidation period, because before it then moves back to the upside. So, not saying it's guaranteed that that's how it's gonna play out, but that's the way I've seen a lot of these projects play out. Like if we look at, what was another big one here? ARB, right? So ARB, now it's at this point, it's been out for a while. But if we look at it, we had the big pump, then we had the big move down, and then consolidation basically. And of course, we've also been in a bear market, so it hasn't acted the same exact way. We haven't seen that move back up yet, but we saw it here as well. So here, okay, so this is an example of exactly what I'm talking about. The first week, this moved up a lot. It doesn't really say, but it moved up. It looks for a low of $1, a high of $100. That's pretty wild. We got a crash down back to a low of $3. Then we got to move back up to a high of $20. And then, you know, of course, we've been in a bear market, so it's slowly consolidated and moved back down before now starting to pick up steam again, like with the rest of the market. So, you know, just to kind of give you an idea of what something like that could look like, because it's really difficult when you know, when there's a new project to predict where it's gonna go. So just to kind of give you guys an idea of you know what could potentially happen, because it is at some point gonna move back down, and that's probably when you want to look to get in. So all right, guys, that was we're way over an hour at this point, so we definitely got to wrap this up. Hopefully hopefully that helped, Chris. Giannis asked, do you think a hedging position strategy could be more profitable against a stop loss strategy? When price reached the next support resistance, we could close the hedging position. Yeah, I mean, you can definitely do that. Now, hedging is a bit more advanced, which is why I don't really talk about it too much. But yeah, that's definitely a way that you can play it, especially if you're long term. Hedging is always a good play. I like to hedge with options and things like that. So that's a way that you can play it. You could also hedge by shorting a position if you're long term. So yeah, you could definitely do that instead of using a stop loss. It is a little bit more of an advanced strategy, but that's definitely a way that you can definitely play it. All right, guys. So I appreciate you guys tuning in. Hopefully, you guys were able to grab some value out of this live stream. Hopefully, I answered some questions for you guys. And hopefully you guys wrote down some of these trade setups that I'm watching here, because we saw how they played out last time. And I think they could definitely, not that they will definitely eventually play out the same way. So it's only a matter of time. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure to smash that like button. And let me actually come back to my face. It's been a while since you guys even saw me. Make sure to smash that like button, guys. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you guys are new here. And I'm going to continue to do this every week. So if you guys enjoy this live stream where I talk about altcoins instead of only Bitcoin, which is usually what I'm mostly focused on, then let me know in the comments. Let me know what you guys think. So let me know if you guys think I should add or do anything differently. And then we'll go from there. We'll continue to build this up and turn this into a weekly thing. So thank you guys for tuning in. I appreciate all of you, especially if you stay tuned to the end. I will see you guys next week. As always, guys, peace and love.